Okay, everyone, I think we're going to go ahead and get started so that I can respect everyone's time and give you guys a good chance to explore and experience Seesaw. So let's go ahead and get started. And my name is Galay Koenig, and there we go. Sorry about that. My name is Galay Koenig, and I am a TOSA here in Department of Innovation and Learner Engagement. And I have my colleague who's sitting across from me over here, Jessie. So Jessie, you want to unmute and say hello?
Hi, all. It's so good to see so many new faces. There's a few people on here I recognize, but a lot of new people. So hi, welcome. As Clay mentioned, I'll be checking the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in, and I'll be adding some links as we go as well.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And to start everyone off, Seesaw is a great tool, and I would love to see how often is it that you guys are using Seesaw? So have you ever tried it? Have you never used it? Do you not know anything? So just kind of share with me some of your experiences that you have with Seesaw. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing in that. So we'll go ahead and continue. So for those of you that have never used it before, I think that you are going to be pleasantly surprised of all it has to offer. So our objectives for today are, I would like for you guys to experience the power of Seesaw. I want you to access your account. We're going to explore the activities library, and I'm going to give you guys some time to create and to share. And just so that you guys know that this mission of using Seesaw really connects with the RUSD direction, instructional direction that is, because it's allowing us to allow the students to explore on their own through their own learning process. It's the 4 C's that we all know are critical to their learning as well. And our agenda is we're going to define what Seesaw is. I'm going to have you experience Seesaw as a student. Then you're going to access your account, give you some time to create and explore the activities library, and then we'll end with a Q&A session. All right, so what is Seesaw? So I have 2 quick little videos that are going to help explain to you what Seesaw is.
I love when that light bulb, that aha moment happens. When they've been working really hard and all of a sudden that light bulb goes off and that click of, oh, I get it now.
I'm looking for new ways to engage my students every single day. Seesaw, hands down, is the best thing that has ever happened to any of my 3rd grade classrooms. Whether it's math, writing, social studies, in art class, in music class, it works for everything. There's so many different ways that a student can create.
They can take pictures, they can do drawing, they can record, and then have to go a step further and explain their thinking in a way that really cements the learning.
Seesaw helps me because it gives me that immediate feedback of how the kids are doing. It helps me find those misconceptions in their lesson and then the following day to reteach those concepts that were missed.
The Seesaw Activity Library is a go-to almost every single day. I love that I can get so many different ideas for activities that I could use right there in one spot. Students love Seesaw. They get very proud of their portfolio and they like to share it with other people.
I saw that. I was at work at a meeting and my little notification popped up. I use the Seesaw Family app both at home and at work. It really helps me give an insight of what Ava is doing, not only in class, but also the way that she's thinking and her process, and I think that's priceless.
I love how Seesaw really allows me to get to know my students on a deeper level. They don't always want to stand up or raise their hand to talk in class, but I feel like Seesaw really allows them to open up and shine.
Welcome to Getting Started with Seesaw for pre-K through 2nd grade teachers. We are so honored to have you here today.
My students use Seesaw to demonstrate and share their learning. We use it on our Chromebooks every day. It's really the best app I found for unlocking creative thinking and giving my students so many options to show what they know.
In science, we are working on a group project about the water cycle. We used a picture that I took last week at the beach to label 8 main steps of the water cycle.
My favorite example of figurative language on this page is shimmering veil of heat, which is imagery. Shimmering veil gives me a better picture of the kind of heat of that day, and it sounds cool.
So 3 times 2 equals 6. Okay, so my answer is 2 over 6, or 2/6. Oh, I can simplify that. Kunal has 1/3 of his flour left.
Seesaw really helps with classroom engagement because they're the ones showing their thinking and their learning. They're getting a chance to draw or take pictures and then go a step further and explain their thinking. And it really cements the learning.
Thank you. Take back over now and we'll go back over here to our Pear Deck presentation. All right, so hopefully you guys were able to see that Seesaw is a web-based tool that can be accessed through by your students and by yourself through Clever. It also provides parents with the opportunity to download the app and to see exactly what their students are learning in class that they share through a portfolio, which is like a journal type thing. And we'll get into that a little bit later, or even maybe the next time. So what we're going to start with is I think it's important for you guys to experience Seesaw as a student first. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is if you could please join my Seesaw class. And it looks like some of my images are missing. So Jesse's actually going to put the code in the chat. So if you could click the link at the top where it says web.seesaw.me. If you could click on that, and it's going to actually take you to the Seesaw page. And for those of you that have already experienced Seesaw in some capacity, you are going to, when it logs you in, you're going to see your name in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to click on your name, and you're going to click Join Code, and then you're going to add that in there. For those of you that have never used Seesaw before, it'll be pretty simple. You just say, I'm a student, sign in with Google, and then you're going to go ahead and add that code in. So I'll give you guys a couple moments to join the class. And if you have any questions at any point, please let me know. For those of you that are teachers and that have logged into Seesaw before, if you take a look right here, this is what I was referring to, where you'll see additional classes listed here. Okay, so thank you guys very much, and I appreciate your patience. Okay, so the goal for today was for me to go ahead and model for you very quickly how to enter in an assignment and then to allow you to experience it. So what I'm going to do to add this assignment so that everyone can experience it is I'm going to click the add button and I'm going to hit assign activity. We're going to work on this in a few minutes, and you can see that when the activities library comes up, you have multiple options. I have already created this assignment here in my library, and what I'm going to do is click assign, and then I'm going to select this course, and then I'm going to assign it to the entire class. So now, hopefully all of you guys, when you're here, should see, if you click on the activity section, that this right here has been assigned to you. All right, so the great thing about Seesaw is it allows you to customize anything. And so what I've done here is I've given some visuals for you to see. So for our young ones specifically, when they go into the activity, they can just simply follow the nice little icons that are there. But I've also included instructions. So one of the great ways to use Seesaw this late in the year might be during small group time. So if you went ahead and created the directions and made recordings, the kids can work independently on these assignments, and the directions are given to them. So they can listen to it multiple times if they weren't clear the first time. Or you can also front load them and you could model it for them in the beginning. So if everyone wouldn't mind taking a chance to try this. So what you would do as the student is we were going to go ahead and click on it. If you can play the instructions and listen through it. And I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to experience that. Okay, everyone. So hopefully you all had a chance to somewhat experience this as a student. So one of the things that I really want to point out that makes Seesaw a great tool is it actually gives you a sample student. So if you wanted to model this for your kids before you sent them off independently, plus record your voice with instructions, it is a great thing for Seesaw that they did embed a sample student. So if you look on the screen here, this is actually how I'm modeling it for you guys, is as a sample student. One other thing that I will point out to you is that if you notice here at the top, if the students forget what the directions are, if you click this little box right here, it reappears. So, you know, obviously there's multiple steps on what the kids were supposed to do. So if they forget that, they just click that right there and it's a drop down menu. And then they can replay the instructions again if they need that scaffolding piece. So I wanted to share that with you as well. So then once the assignment is complete, all they do is they click here on this green check mark. And then what it does is it submits the assignment. So from the teacher side, I am then notified here at the bottom that I have 10 posts that need to be reviewed. So this lets me know, okay, these students have finished these assignments. I need to now go back in and I can review them. So if I take a look at them here, this lists every single one. So Jesse, I'm going to pick on you. So it allows me to rate how the student did on the assignment. I can like it. I can leave comments. And then also here, which we will get into this information if you choose to attend later, but you can submit it in specific folders within their journals. You can also record responses to the student and then it sends it back to them. So there's a lot of great tools for you to engage with the students. You can even go in and edit it. So let's suppose I went in and I was like, okay, Jesse, I want you to, oops, this one's incorrect. I could circle it and I could ask her to go back in and fix that. So that's another great option for you. So you're just basically grading right here within the tool. And then I would just click on it and then it'll send it back to Jesse to let her know that I left her a response. So hopefully you guys are intrigued now about this. And I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to the presentation because now I'm going to ask you guys to close that tab out. For those of you that struggled to get in because you already had a teacher account, please log out as a student now so that when we follow the link in Clever, it will directly take you into your teacher page. So there should just be a couple of you guys. So all they have to do is go into Clever once you've added it to your homepage, which I'm going to show you how to do now, and then they will be able to use the single sign-in to get in. So for you to access your teacher account, we are going to go through Clever. So if you guys wouldn't mind opening up another tab and accessing your Clever account. And
we're already...
So for those of you that have never accessed Seesaw through your Clever account, you're going to find Seesaw listed under the district page. So you're going to find it under here. And then what you would do is just click on search, and then you'll search the apps for Seesaw. And then just as you would normally do with anything, you click add, you click the app, and then that will add it to your home page. And then you will find it here for your students to be able to access when you're ready for that information to go there. And then this time, what you're going to do is just click on Clever, and then you're going to log in here with your Gmail account. And this time, you're going to select I'm a teacher. And then your account should already be created because it's based off of your roster. If you don't see that, you can create the account and give it a name. Is there anybody at this point that has not been able to find Seesaw in their Clever or access it? All right, so this time when you're in, this is what the teacher page looks like. And as we kind of experienced before, over here to the left-hand side, it's going to have your name here, and then any other accounts that you had, even if you were, old accounts, if you had a free account before, and then when we went to the premium version, that free account should also be listed there also. So on this left-hand side, you are going to see that this gear right here tells you how to manage all of the classes, okay? If you look over to the other side, let me get to the next page. When you pick a specific class, you'll notice this other tool, which is the wrench. The wrench is where you go to make the specific lessons, or I'm sorry, the specific settings for that particular class. So if you had multiple classes, you may have different settings for each one of them. But in order to set the settings for that specific class, you're going to use the wrench that's over there on that side. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to explore the settings and kind of take a look at that. And then we'll come back together and get to the activities. So I'm going to go ahead and start this timer. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to unmute yourselves or raise your hand, either one. Beth, did you have a question? Go ahead.
Yes. On my account, I have 2, and it's my Google Classroom that has no students in it, and then also another one that's for first grade that has all of my kids in it.
So I'm glad that you asked that question, because you're going to want to use the one that has your rostered kids, because that's the one that came from Clever. And then as long as you're using that account, then whenever there's a change or an update to your roster, that account will automatically be updated as well. So great question. Thank you for pointing that out.
Should I delete the one that's my Google Classroom one?
Yeah, that might be a great idea. If you're not using it in there to help yourself with confusion, that's a great idea.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay. It's actually archiving it is what they call it. It doesn't delete it. You archive the class, just like in Google Classroom.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Beth. Did you have another question?
Yes. What does it mean when it says request lesson?
Okay, so that means that either the person that created the lesson is requesting to know who's asking it, or for some reason, first question, which activity section did you find it under?
Seesaw lessons.
Seesaw lesson, yeah. So we're going to cover that in a few minutes, but basically Seesaw went through and created a bunch of lessons, and they based it all upon standards, but they're trying to give them to us free right now because they want to eventually charge us. So it may be one that they're like, hey, request this so that I can give a sales pitch to your district. So that might be what it is. I move forward, and then we'll see what we get. So now what I want us to do is we are going to start by creating a lesson. So I would like for you guys to just basically model the steps that I do so that you guys can leave here with something that you created or something that you found. And many of you may have already be doing that. So in order for you to either create a lesson or use one that's already created, you're going to start by clicking on this green add button, and then you're going to click on the assign activity. So once you do that, it will take you here to the activities library. And you can see that there are multiple tabs. So we have the community tab, the school district tab, and the Seesaw lessons, and then of course your own library. The communities tab is basically anybody, everybody, anywhere. The school and the district one could be some that your colleagues made on your school site or people that made them within our own district. And then, of course, this is the Seesaw lessons that I was just referencing to Beth. Something I will say to you guys about this, the Seesaw lessons right now are thrown out free. So if you go in and you make copies of those lessons right now and keep them in your library, once they go to a paid version, if you have a copy of the free one, you will still have a copy of a free one. So I strongly encourage you to go through those lessons and save as many of them as you can right now if you find them interesting. They have broken them down by SEL and subject matter, so they really do have some great resources. And again, you can also search those by standards. So if it's something that you're trying to specifically target, you can search them by standards. And then the final one is your library, and that is where anything that you save or that you like will be housed. All right, so once you have, or if you find a lesson that you like and you click this heart right here, that's where it's saved. That's how it gets saved into your library. So let's say that you are now in your library and you have saved this lesson and you're taking a look at it and you're like, this is a great example. This is why I put it in here. When I found this lesson, I thought, oh, this is a really great activity. However, when her directions here say, use the T, which is the text box, to fill in the matching sentences. Well, I felt like that was like a really hard thing for like kindergartners to do because they have to create a text box, then they have to line it up and all of those things. So what I might have done if I wanted to use this is I would click the 3 dots down at the bottom and I would click copy and edit this activity, and then it opens it up and it allows you to update and change the activity on your own. So I can give it a new name, and then here I can change the the directions right here. So for this one specifically, what I might have done differently is if you wanted to have that text box, you could put the text box in on your template so that when they open it, all they have to do is click and then add the number. The other option would be to ask them to use the pencil and then use their little fingers, which also might be tough. But I just wanted to show you how you can make these changes. So you give them the directions, you add voices, you can add videos also to connect as well, and then you attach the template. So it allows a clean copy to be sent to each and every student. Then you're going to save the lesson. And then you're going to go back to that add button. Again, sign the activity. Select the one you want, and then add it into your specific classroom that you're interested in sending it to. So that is basically how you do that information, or that's basically how you assign a lesson for your kids. You can pick one, that's how you edit it. So I know we're running short on time, so I will set the timer. I'm going to cut it off at about 5 minutes to allow for questions and answers. But again, if you guys have any questions or any questions that you want answered, you can ask at any point. Is there a way to forward skills spreadsheets? Holly, what do you mean by that? Oh, okay, Christina, let's see. Are we able?
So I want to know if we can do what you just had us do at the beginning.
Yes, and if you would like for me to show you how I did that, yeah, I can do that for you. Give me 1 second. So obviously you here on my Seesaw account, if you wanted to join yourself, you would go down here where it says plus students. Okay, so you click on that, and then when you scroll right here, do you see this section right here? It actually gives you a QR code, and it also gives you a code. The disclaimer I need to give you is this code is only good for 1 hour. So what you would then do is go into a separate Google account, or even if you wanted to use your own, and then this is the code that you would use to get into your own account as a student. Is that what you were referencing?
Probably. I had no idea. I mean, I knew that was there, but I didn't know I could use that because we don't add students this way. So I just ignore this, but I'm going to try it. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And this is what I use to get you guys to join my class today.
Then yes, that's exactly what I meant. Thank you. That's going to solve a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And do I have to use a separate Google account, or would that be confusing if I just use my district Google account to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely up to you, but I think what you might find is that you might have to sign out each time as a student and then sign back in. So
make a fake Google account, kind of.
Yeah. So if you notice, if you look over here, you can see where I have the one where it says ILE Glay. I just created like a Google account for me to be able to add myself into random.
Yeah.
Yes, just to be somebody else. I don't use it for anything else but to join classes. So that might make it a lot easier for you, because then you know that if you want to access that account, then you just toggle over to that Google account and act as a student, then toggle back to your district account to be the teacher. So you don't have to worry about logging in, logging out, that whole bit.
Changes must be made from your student management system. So I can't add myself to that one, even as a student.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to create a whole new class, and it might even be better because then you won't get all of the assignments, because you're going to assign yourself all those assignments. So what you'd have to do is where it says like create new class on the left corner, and you could create a new class, and then when you create your own class, you can add whoever you want to be students of that class.
Oh, very good tip. Okay.
And you can, you can just be the only student and you use that class only to show the kids kind of what to do, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is then you'd have to make sure you're assigning whatever you're assigning it to multiple classes. Yes.
It's just one click of a button. So yeah, that's easy. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And again, it's hard sometimes because since I don't have a rostered class, like we've been trying to test this. So thank you for sharing your expertise on that. I really appreciate that. And I think what you guys were saying is when you go to share the assignment and you pick whatever activity it is, you would just pick the multiple classes to make sure it was there. So I think that's what you were referencing, Christina. All right. So for those of you that are experts, and it sounds like you're one of them, Christina, do you want to share how you use Seesaw and the value that you've seen with your students? Do you mind sharing a little bit?
They do their writing in there. We do all of their math tests or math quizzes are either they do it in their book and they take a picture of it.
Well, actually, what I wanted to share just to save everybody's time, but I appreciate what you're sharing with us. While I'm saying this, I'm going to go ahead and put the confirmation code up for you guys also, is that you can search Kristen Bristow in the library, and she has created some wonderful lessons for TK through second grade in both math and ELA. So you can search her by her name. And then you could possibly also search Holly, because if she has some, she might have some great lessons for you to take advantage of.
I try to.
Thank you, Holly. We appreciate your expertise. And thank you so much for your expertise, Holly. I appreciate that. Very good. Thank you so much for that. And so in the chat, Jesse has put the link to the time card as well as to the kick-up. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being patient with our hiccup, but hopefully you guys found some valuable information today in our introduction here for Seesaw. Just a quick plug, I will be doing a dive deeper into Seesaw in 2 weeks. So if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper, Jesse will put the link to that Seesaw presentation for the 15th, I believe it is. So actually, no, the 15th, I think it's the 21st. I apologize, in 2 weeks.